What a stiff. What a stiff. Lindsey Graham. By the way, he's registered 0 in the polls. 0. He's on television all the time.
The group known as SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, has called a news conference for tomorrow where they are expected to make a major announcement. While there is no confirmation, initial sources indicate there may be a connection between life on other planets and Donald Trump. We will, of course, monitor the situation and bring our viewers the very latest. However, in order to ensure we are not vaporized, just in case, we will not be discussing any facets of the Donald's hair. Tossing all caution to the wind, then, let's go around the dial on this and other matters of import with the midday voice of the Rockies on 630 KHOW in Denver, Colorado, Michael Brown, and the late morning talker cruising up and down the eastern seaboard on 1210 WPHT in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Dom Giordano. Gentlemen, pleasure to see you both again. Remember, no hair talk. Okay.
All righty.
Mike, I'm going to come to you first on this. Look, we've seen a lot of the big right-wing leaning talkers, radio talkers around the country, Rush Limbaugh, Mark Levin, Michael Savage, all coming out in favor of Donald Trump. Is that the right thing for them to do at this time?
No, I don't think so. But let me be very specific, though, Ed. I don't want to see Trump get out of this race. Because what Trump is doing is he is resonating with voters unlike many other candidates. So he's forcing the other candidates to reevaluate what they say, how they say it, and to actually deal with some concrete issues. So as crazy as Donald may be, and as funny as you know what may be on top of his head, which we won't mention, nonetheless, I want him to stay in the race and cause those other candidates to actually address some issues.
We've not been vaporized, so I think we're good so far. Dom, Michael makes a very good point, and it's one that I've been kind of alluding to here for a while. Look, love him, hate him, it makes no difference here, but is he at least going to get the rest of the Republican candidates to talk issues once they stop feeding into him?
Well, I reject that, Ed, with all due respect. I mean, you mean to say that you don't think Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Walker, and others, and I've interviewed every one of them recently, they're talking issues. They're just not as flamboyant as Donald Trump.
But nobody's hearing them, Don. Nobody's hearing them right now.
Yeah, that may happen because it's early in the season, and Trump is a very entertaining figure, and people are paying attention to that aspect of it. I'm afraid when they get on stage, though, if they do what you and Michael suggest, then they start to overhype themselves. We get into something where I think they're perfectly good candidates. They don't need to do that.
But aren't you then just saying what we've been talking about here, that they need to get back on message? But right now, Lindsey Graham and others, no matter if Lindsey Graham's got a 0 or a 100, they're paying attention to Donald Trump right now.
Well, that's Perry and Lindsey Graham. The big guys are not. Scott Walker denounced what he said about McCain, and Ted Cruz has been sort of supportive while not agreeing with them. The big guys, the ones that are at the top that are going to, Lindsey Graham's and the others, they're jumping on, you're right, Bobby Jindal, because they got nothing else to do at this point.
All right, so, Michael, if we take that and then we take the ABC News Washington Post poll, which shows that he's got a huge lead in the polls right now, do we just need to tell ourselves, all right, look, this is early, it'll all wind down, everything's, just deal with the issues now?
I think that's exactly right. And to Dom's point, I think, yeah, maybe they're being pushed aside a little bit because the mainstream media is focused on the Donald. But once those debates start and those other candidates start comparing and contrasting themselves to the Donald and address the issues he's addressed, I think the Donald will fade away. But he will then have served his purpose to make those candidates focus like a laser beam on those issues.
Do you think maybe, Mike, and again, I know we're all just trying to get inside the Donald's head, and that's not easy to do, but could we just guess maybe that that's what his end game is? To push this conversation along, not necessarily to be president. I can't see him working with Congress under any sort of idea.
No, and I wish that were true, Ed, but I think this is all about Donald. He just relishes the limelight. This is what he does. He's a carnival barker in that regard, and so he's just doing what he does naturally. I don't think there's any intellectual motive that says, okay, I'm going to push this party to address issues. I don't think he thinks that at all.
Well, let me ask.
I
go ahead, Dom.
Ed, and here's an example. He stumbled into the immigration thing, well, the sanctuary city part of it, and Kate Steinle is what helped bring it up to the level that it did. And he really stumbled into the veterans thing. He is excellent, though, at exploiting branding when he stumbles. He has a hotline for veterans now with their stories about the VA. that's a master ploy. I just don't think he knows enough about what the true issues are. Once he's alerted to it, he knows what to do to put the word out about it.
Dom, 10 seconds. Your listeners in Philadelphia, pro or anti-Trump?
Pro, when they're giving me quite a workout on that.
There you go. Michael, same to you.
I think it's about half and half. I get blasted on both sides, so I think it's midway.
Okay, it's exactly what I would expect from my old friends out in the Rockies, indeed. And we got through without talking about his hair. I'm feeling so much better. Dom Giordano, Michael Brown, keep rocking the airwaves where you are in Philadelphia and in Denver, Colorado. Gentlemen, we'll talk to you both real soon. All right, we will continue. And, of course, the Donald is sucking the air out of the room. But, hey, people are talking. Maybe we get down to issues finally, right? Stay with us. The Fastest 60 in News continues.